Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 79 of Screw the Commute podcast. This one is how to make money with Facebook groups, whether you have a website or not. How about that? And the last episode, the last episode, 78, with Elena Fernandez. I found out later I was pronouncing her name wrong, and she was too nice to say anything about it. I've called her Elena for years. But it's Elena Fernandez. But I've got to say, her story is the most inspiring of anyone I've interviewed yet. She grew up being beaten daily in a dirt floor hut in a third world country, and now she's one of the most respected mommy bloggers in the country. Check that out, episode 78. All right, our podcast app is now available. It'll do a lot of cool stuff for you. You can find it at screwthecommute.com/app, which will lead you to the iTunes store or the Apple store where you can download it. But it'll do all kinds of cool things, and it locks your phone off, and when somebody calls you, it resumes the podcast and stops it and resumes it. I mean, all kinds of stuff it'll do for you. And it'll do so much stuff. We did a whole training thing on it at screwthecommute.com/app, APP, to show you can use all the advanced features. So that's the podcast app. I kind of slurred my way through that, didn't I? All right, now we are also starting our monthly youth episodes where I highlight a young person doing great entrepreneurial things. Now, email me at orders@antion.com. Of course, it'll be in the show notes for details on how a young person can apply to be featured. Our first young person was Tiffany Hawkins, who is a young girl helping other young girls. So check out her episode. Now, what better and more appropriate sponsor could I have for this episode than Screw the Commute private Facebook group? So that's our sponsor today is the Screw the Commute private Facebook group, where you can interact with me, my staff, and with other great entrepreneurs and like-minded people. And it's a place where my staff and I put in training and business tips several times per week. You can ask questions and get feedback on things that you are doing. I'll tell you more about that later, but that's at screwthecommute.com/Facebook. Screwthecommute.com/Facebook. All right, let's get to the main event. How to make money with Facebook groups. This is one of the many ways you can earn online without having a website. Now, having a website always gives you way more chances to increase your income, but you don't have to have one to start earning. Now, there's also many ways you can make money with a Facebook group, both directly and indirectly. Now, I'm going to start with the directly since that's the main way I do it, and then I'll get to some of the more indirect ways. Well, this one way is pretty simple. Basically, I promote a private Facebook group to my list, and people pay either monthly or yearly. With a Facebook group, I have to let people in manually. Sometimes it's a hassle to get them in. Now, of course, they have to be on Facebook. But if they're on your friends list, it's pretty easy. But if they're not on your friends list, you have to send them an invite to the group. You must find out from them what email address they use for Facebook. And lots of times people hardly remember, so you have a little hassle there. But as soon as someone joins, you want to get them in as fast as possible before they kind of say, heck with it, it's too much hassle. Now, when I get them into the group, I make a welcome posting, tagging them so they see it. Other people in the group, including my administrators, which I'll talk about shortly, welcome them. The first post that's pinned to the top, and I'm going to also talk about pinning shortly, is the rules for the group. Now, I start that post with an all caps must read first. Then I give some general info about me and the Screw the Commute lifestyle, and then I give them a link to our community guidelines. I'm going to read them for you here, and of course, they'll be in the show notes so you can copy and adapt them to your group. You can add or subtract anything you want from my guidelines. And remember, it's your group, so do what you want. So here's my community guidelines. Here, I'm going to actually read them to you. Maybe I'll throw in some comments. Our entrepreneur community exists to help you become a better business owner. When a group of people get together, it's important to keep some degree of order. So please adhere to the following guidelines. You can put a promotional post for your business on Fridays. Then in parentheses, this rule is subject to change. You can ask for feedback on small portions of your promotional materials, but asking for feedback as a guise for self-promotion, all at the moderator's discretion, will not be allowed. Now, the following are prohibited: profane, defamatory, offensive, or violent language, trolling or posting deliberately disruptive statements meant to hijack comment threads or throw discussions off track, attacks on specific groups or any comments meant to harass, threaten, or abuse an individual, hateful or discriminatory comments regarding race, ethnicity, religion, gender, disability, sexual orientation, or political beliefs, links or comments containing sexually explicit content material, discussion of illegal activity. Remember, these are all the prohibited things. Spam, link baiting, or providing link baiting is where you make some outrageous thing that gets people to click that doesn't really go to anything real or significant. Providing files containing viruses that could damage the operation of other people's computers or mobile devices. Acknowledgement of intent to stalk an individual or collect private information without disclosing that. Commercial solicitations or promotions of a competitor of mine. And if you're in doubt, ask me. Violation of copyright or intellectual property rights. Content that relates to confidential or proprietary business information. Content determined to be inappropriate, in poor taste, or otherwise contrary to the purposes of the group. So those are my guidelines, which I undoubtedly borrowed when I started the group from many other groups that I'm in. So feel free to grab whatever you want from them. But I encourage you to join similar groups to the one you want to start and look at their group rules. You can also make questions that new members must answer before getting in the group. But I don't really bother with this. Their payment is enough for me to let them in. But that still doesn't mean I won't expel them if they violate any of the above rules. All right, I talked about administrators and pinning. Well, these are two really unrelated topics, but I don't want to forget to tell you about them. So you can make anyone an admin to your group. But I would be careful about this because you must trust them to uphold the purpose and rules of the group. I have two of my employees as admins of Screw the Commute private Facebook group. They post content from time to time. They welcome new members. They fix any glitches that happen on the site. They run promotions for me. They answer questions and handle whatever else comes up. And they pretty much take a load off of me when I can't be in the group as often as I'd like. All right, now on to pinning. Well, pinning means you can make a post stick to the top of the page. In other words, it's the first post everybody sees. In my group, that's the one that says must read first, and it has a picture of me and one of my dogs. And this is a good place to show your personality. I mean, you could do a video or post a picture. It's up to you. Now, the post gets people off to the right start and can reduce conflict when people see up front that you are serious about bad behavior. It also should talk about the benefits of being in the group so people are excited about being there. So now let's talk about how to advertise your group to get people to sign up. Well, you saw one at the beginning of this podcast. I made the group a sponsor of the podcast. So people constantly hear about how they can have access to me in a group setting for much cheaper than they can get in my mentor program, which is more money and a year-long program with unlimited one-on-one access to me and my entire staff. And you get the immersion weekend at my retreat center. See how I snuck in a little ad for my mentor program there? But I mean, some people aren't serious enough to invest in the mentor program, and some people that don't know me just want to check me out first by joining the Facebook group. Anyway, you can make your group a sponsor of your other programs, which is what I just did. Now, the way that has been most successful for my group is using a webinar that gives lots of business advice and leads to an offer to join Screw the Commute private Facebook group. I called it 45 Business Tips in 45 Minutes. And you can watch it over at tomantionwebinars.com, tomantionwebinars.com, and you can get that in the show notes. You can also write a sales letter for your group and put it on your website or blog if you have one. And email or message a mini sales message, either a sales like a messenger message or an email message with a link in it to send your followers to the sales letter. Remember, copywriting is the best skill I've ever developed in my entire business career. It's covered in episode 13. And we also now have an inexpensive intro ebook on copywriting, which we'll put in the show notes, along with my complete course, which is more than 10 times cheaper than any other course that probably isn't as good. You can find that at copywriting901.com. Copywriting901.com. We call that the fast track to writing words that sell. Okay, here's something that makes a lot of sense. You can make postings on Facebook or paid ads on Facebook. Well, the reason it makes a lot of sense is they're already active on Facebook to see your postings and ads, and you don't need a website for this. You can have affiliates promoting your group. I mean, it's best if they are members so that they can more enthusiastically promote the benefits of the group. And you can have clickable graphics on your website or blog leading to your sales letter. You can write blog postings and articles about individual topics that you cover in your group. I mean, your ad for the group can either be at the end of a blog posting, or some people have had success putting the ad in the middle of the posting. Your group could be on all your printed materials. I mean, some people put it on their business cards, and other people have entire business cards promoting their group. And pretty much any method you use to promote any of your other products and services can be used to promote your group. All right, collecting the money. Well, if you're not willing to invest in a complete shopping cart system, you can always start with PayPal. No problem. But having a shopping cart system, which I covered kickstartcart.com in episode 10, that gives you a lot more avenues to increase your income with upsells and automatic selling using autoresponders. I also roll out occasionally a $1 trial leading to a monthly payment to give people a chance to check out the group. But again, you need a shopping cart system to do this effectively. And did I mention we use and promote kickstartcart.com? and we give, hey, listen to this. I'm laughing, but man, this is really great. We give unlimited one-on-one tutoring on how to use it to make the most money. Nobody does that kind of stuff. All right, let's get some other ways to make money with your group. And after that, I'll tell you how to make money with other people's groups. All right, I got a big list of them here. You can obviously sell your products and services. You can promote affiliate products and services. You can recruit your group members as affiliates to sell for you. You can earn advertising and sponsorship revenue. And if you have enough members, you can get sponsors for your group or just sell ads. You can build your mailing list by directing members to an opt-in or lead generation landing page where you follow up with email or messenger marketing. Now, in messenger marketing, I'm talking about chatbots that help you build a Facebook Messenger list that has unbelievably high open and click-through rates where you can still sell your products and services. Now, I covered chatbots in the last Monday training episode, which is number 76. And just by the way, for those of you listening for the first time, every Monday I do an in-depth training session, and then Wednesdays and Fridays I do an interview with a successful entrepreneur. Lots of great tips in those interviews. And then we just now started putting in on Thursdays, once a month at this point, a really successful youth. So that's our schedule here. Okay, you can prospect your group members for partners or investors. It's another way to get some big money. You can collect donations for running a free group. You can do crowdfunding projects, and I'm going to cover that in episode 85. So make sure you watch for that. Crowdfunding is where lots of people contribute to your creative projects, and you don't have to pay it back. And yeah, I know that sounds too good to be true, but it's real. So watch for episode 85 in a couple weeks. All right, here's one you probably never thought of. You could sell your group. Yeah, you probably never thought of that one. Yeah, if you get enough people built up, and you might be sick of doing it or whatever, you could sell it to somebody. Now, the flip side of that is you could simply offer to buy a group from someone and see if they're interested, and then negotiate a price. I mean, you never know when someone is sick of operating a group or doesn't know how to monetize it. I mean, you have to watch out that all the members aren't just in love with the leader, because they might quit the group as soon as the leader leaves. Then as part of the deal, you could make the leader introduce you and encourage everybody to stay. Okay, now let's talk about making money with other people's groups. Well, first, let me tell you about some of my students. I'm a total stickler for keyword research, and that's evidenced by the first episode of this podcast. Keyword research is a critical element and the number one mistake people make when trying to be successful online. But however, occasionally I'll get a student whose topic doesn't lend itself well to keyword research. It might be a topic that people don't really put in their profile, so it's hard to target them with paid ads on places like Facebook. And I mean, they know more about you than anybody that you know about yourself, right? But yeah, those keywords there's always keywords for every business, but some just don't lend themselves to those paid ads. An example would be recovering from a loss. So let's say you had a product targeting people who have gone through breakups, divorces, or maybe death of a loved one. I mean, maybe even some people who've been close to someone that committed suicide. Well, those people don't put those kinds of keywords in their profiles, but frequently they do seek out support groups and others who have gone through or are going through the same kinds of issues. So what I tell my students to do is use the same keywords in Facebook they would use if they were preparing their site for good search engine optimization. And then do a search with those keywords on Facebook. Now, for one of my students, I identified at least 30 groups, and this only took a couple minutes, by the way, comprising over 100,000 people who had self-identified themselves of being interested in her topic. Another student found about 400,000 people in a few minutes. Now, in most cases, you couldn't attract that many people to your website in years and millions of dollars of search engine positioning work. These people are standing there telling you they're prospects for your products and services. But here's a warning. You can't just jump into these groups and start promoting yourself. Many group owners are very protective of their group, and they'll ban you in a hurry. Now, there are time-consuming ways to approach these groups that cost nothing, and there are quick ways to approach if you have some bucks to invest. Now, the no money approach is to join the groups and, if appropriate, introduce yourself. Some groups encourage that and some don't. You need to read their community guidelines and also watch to see if lots of other people are introducing themselves. The key is not to be an obnoxious self-promoter, because you will most likely, at best, be ignored, or at worst, banned and kicked out of the group. Now, if that happens, your name could be mud in front of thousands of people in your target market. You should make thoughtful comments in the groups, start non-promotional threads or postings in the group, and people will click through to your profile to see who you are. This method costs nothing but time. Another no-cost way is to offer some kind of perk for the members of the group. It could be an ebook, a series of videos, an e-course, an online course, or some other kind of helpful freebie. It can't be just an ad for your company. What you do is you approach the group owner and ask them if they would like to have it to give out to their group. If they accept, you give it to them and they make a posting or allow you to make a posting with the giveaway. For ebooks, they might have you give them a copy and they put it in the file section of the group. Some group owners may allow you to make a posting where people can come to your site to get it. That's the best way. Some may require that no opt-in is required at your site, and some people may not care. So you can build your mailing list this way. At any rate, this costs nothing and could distribute your stuff to tens of thousands of people. And of course, your contact info and a small percentage of advertising for your stuff could be included. If the owner of the group needs extra incentive to distribute your stuff, you could offer to make them an affiliate so they get a commission if anyone from his or her group buys something from you. Now, if you have a budget, you could offer to pay the group owner to either put up a promotional posting on your behalf or allow you to do one. Part of the deal could be that it gets pinned to the top of the group for a week or whatever you negotiate. Also, if they do pin you to the top, does your posting stay forever after the pin period, or is it deleted, or do you pay an ongoing fee? I mean, these are all negotiating points dependent on how bad you want to get in front of the group. Now, don't expect all group owners to welcome paid deals. Some will be against any promotion whatsoever, and they'll tell you to take a hike. However, any topic worth going after means you just say, next, and go on to the next group. Now, for large groups, there's another way it's possible to earn money. If it's clearly a for-profit group, there's a possibility you could request a job as a community or group manager. This is certainly possible, but many groups have volunteers who would kill to have the prestige of being an admin. So it might be hard initially to find such a group, and you might decide to do it for free to be in front of that many people. But there are people like me who like paid people that have to do what I tell them. I want them in charge of my stuff. And many volunteers like the prestige, but flake on you when things need done in a timely fashion. So there is opportunity here. So there's a primer on making money with Facebook groups. And now would be a good time for me to walk my talk and encourage you to join mine. Screw the Commute private Facebook group is where you can interact with me, my staff, and with other great entrepreneurs and like-minded people. And it's a place where my staff and I put in training and business tips several times per week. You can ask questions and get feedback on things you are doing. And I give you quick tips that have made and saved me tons of money over more than 40 years in business. And myself and my staff also give you more in-depth postings on all kinds of business topics. So check it out in the show notes at screwthecommute.com, or you can go directly to screwthecommute.com/Facebook. Hope to see you there. All right, our next episode, number 80, is Jan McInnes. She chucked the corporate world because she wanted to be funny, and boy, did it pay off. All right, so please subscribe and review over at iTunes. If you're new to podcasts, we've got instructions to help you on listening and subscribing and reviewing, all that over at screwthecommute.com. This has been episode 79, and I will catch you on the next episode. See you later.